Here.
Sherelle Fuller.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavicic.
Here.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Here.
Nancy Kupka.
Here.
Luca Polauskas.
Here.
And Caitlin Vincent.
Here.
Thank you.
We have a quorum. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start with student perspectives.
All right, we'll invite both principals forward because we have representatives from both schools this evening.
All right.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is really fun because we both get to do student perspectives tonight, which is really cool. So we are presenting tonight our Snowball teams, and they're going to talk a lot about what they do, but it is like one of the coolest events ever. It's really fun to watch, and the planning and preparation that goes into this and in collaboration with both schools is just really unique, and they have this ability to bring all of our students together in one forum and to talk about things that are really important to teenagers. And so it's really cool that they get to present tonight. So, Armin?
Yeah, I just wanted to add too that the work that they do really touches the fabric of our entire district. So when I've been able to be a part of the actual event and you watch the true joy and magic that's happening, and I always use the word classical joy because there's no phones. There's usually music that's been, from like 1960s to present. So like just kind of like timeless connection. And then that connection building, our students then bring back and are able to spread in every different aspect of their life. So we're both just so proud to be principals in a district that supports this program, that has the program so vibrant, and such great adult leaders and student leaders. So we are happy to hand it over to our leaders.
Come on up, guys. And we'll have them introduce themselves. I think they have plans to do that and tell what school they're from, and they'll talk to you all about Snowball.
Hello, my name is Luca Polauskas, and I'm a senior at Downers Grove North.
We know you.
Seems familiar.
My name's Mia Casson. I'm from South, and I'm a senior.
I'm Madeline. I'm from Downers Grove North, and I'm also a senior.
My name's Johnny Claren, and I'm a sophomore at Downers Grove South.
Okay, so we're here today just to tell you all a little bit about Operation Snowball and kind of how it operates at North and South. So, yeah. Okay, so if you look up there, those are 3 pictures from our 3 events just from this school year. So there's 3 events throughout the year. So in the fall, there's one at North, one at South, and then in the winter, we combine for a crosstown event. So Snowball is a statewide event. It's known as Operation Snowball, but in our district, we really just kind of refer to it as Snowball. It began in Rockford in 1977 when high school students attended the Illinois Teen Institute and decided that they wanted to replicate it in their own school. It started in 1999 in District 99 and is one of the 75 chapters across Illinois and beyond. You may or may not know, but Snowball is almost like completely student-led. So it's pretty much made up of junior and senior leaders, and then there are senior directors that kind of like plan the whole event alongside all of the adults, which are super supportive throughout the whole process. As a director, we kind of always came up with the ideas, what we wanted the event to look like, and the adults were kind of there to help our ideas come to life. So this year, our retreat went back to an overnight event. Due to COVID, it was kind of like different types of models throughout the years. We had a couple virtual ones, a couple one-day ones up at Camp Duncan, but we were finally able to go back to an overnight, which was so awesome because that's just the best way to do it. And like I said, there's 3 annual retreats, and any student is able to go.
Okay, so the Snowball retreats focus on fostering students' personal growth while creating a community and friendships with one another. Some of like the main focuses of Snowball is social and emotional learning, addressing topics like substance use prevention and education, wellness and mental health, maintaining healthy relationships, building confidence, setting goals, reducing isolation, and creating a positive impact in life and at school. So the name Snowball is we try to keep the snowball rolling by bringing the positivity back to school even after Snowball's over. And Snowball creates experiences for students to feel more connected to school and their peers and help prepare them for life after high school.
So a large part of Snowball is the large group activities. We have pretty much every activity is student-led besides motivational speakers, and that's just like speakers coming in and telling their stories, and we kind of like learn different perspectives of things and like different outlooks that we should carry on ourselves. One of my favorite things is the workshops that the directors lead themselves. It has like wide ranges of different things that we do. It's like just like different things to be mindful about, and like I guess just being, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say like it's just a good opportunity to like be open-minded and like relieve some stress and like stuff like that. So yeah, we also have skits that are director-led as well, and then leaders hop in and help out with that, and it's like wide range of different things that can be talked about in those skits, like different issues that are going on. So that, and then we also have the dance, which I had my first time. I got to do it this year in the fall. It was a lot of fun. We had Coach Josh. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, really good guy. Yeah, we also, the other few things are Cross the Line, which is something that really can take a mental toll on people, but it's something that like is so special to people because they really like see a perspective of seeing that you're not alone in different things in your life, and I think that's really strong. And then the last thing is closing activities, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share what that is. It's kind of a secret, but it's supposed to be very like warming and like closing to Snowball itself. So, yeah.
So each student is put into a small group, and these small groups are randomized, and we really like doing this. So you go in.
Did we miss a slide?
I skipped over Luca. Whoops.
Okay, so continuing on, a big part of Snowball are the large group speakers and the workshop facilitators that students and staff are able to participate in and learn from. With the expectation of our fall speakers rise together, all of our adult speakers and presenters this year had a connection with North or South, and that's to make sure that the staff and students who are a part of Snowball are able to connect with them and learn from them outside of the classroom environment and really, like I said, connect with them on a deeper level instead of sitting in a classroom and just seeing them more so one-on-one, being able to talk to them outside. And also at our last Snowball Crosstown, a social studies teacher named Mr. Lazaretto inspired us to create our own super suits, which basically means you're creating this, like I said, suit that is consistent of different struggles you might have had, but you're more so creating it to show off your interests and the support that you have from others, and also the strengths that others might not see, so that it gets you through tough times, as he described to us during that large group speaking workshop. And then overall, you can see there's a list of different individuals who have helped us keep Snowball going and have taught us different lessons throughout. One being Mrs. Crine, who helps us with self-defense, learning how to defend ourselves, and it's a lot of fun. Everyone's able to get outside of their comfort zone. And then also one of our Snowball sponsors, Mr. Leslie, who is in the crowd right now in the red shirt, is retiring after 22 years and being a part of 41 different Snowball retreats.
Sorry
Sorry, Luca. But so, like I was saying before I cut her off, each student is put into a small group and it's random. And we do this so you're not necessarily with your best friend. So you can create relationships with people you wouldn't necessarily meet if it wasn't for Snowball. And then in these small groups, you process the larger group activities, and then you bond over like your team color. There's always a cheer that each group makes up, and there's also some team building components to that. And then oftentimes small groups stay in contact after Snowball's over, so like via text or social media, especially for like crosstown schools because won't necessarily see them at school. And then in small groups, student participants observe what's involved with being a student leader, which inspires many to stay involved with Snowball and apply to be a leader or a director. I think we've all been affected by this. And then student leaders plan and facilitate their small group activities with the support of adult volunteers, which includes staff members, and then also adult age D99 Snowball alumni have come back to be Snowball adults.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the impact that Snowball has had on me personally. So I was a director at this past winter, which means I worked alongside with 7 other seniors, and it was just such an amazing experience because I got to see the whole idea come together with the help of the adults. But back during my freshman year, I remember going to my first Snowball and coming home and literally like crying to my parents because of like how amazing I felt about it. And I just knew that this would be like my second home all throughout my 4 years of high school. And it really has been. It's always been my happy place. It's the place that I can go, and I know the people around me aren't going to judge me, and it really makes me feel like I'm not alone. Everything I'm going through, I can see that other people are also going through it, and it just gives me a place to really like be myself. It's also helped me develop the best friendships in my life. Like, all of my best friends have come out of Snowball. And it's also given me like such amazing leadership opportunities. Like, even my freshman self, like looking on me, like speaking in front of all of you right now would have been like, but Snowball truly helped me like come out of my shell and find my true self and just make me a very confident person. So I'm very grateful to Snowball for giving me that opportunity, and I can't wait to see it develop over the years with like incoming students.
Okay, so coming.
Oh, are we staying there?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So I was a freshman, and the whole idea of becoming a freshman is fitting in with everybody because you might not know as many people as you did in your middle school. And as someone who came from a middle school who the majority of students do not go to Downers Grove North, it was very difficult to make friends and wanting to fit in, so doing everything you can to be different and be like everybody else. I would say, it might sound bad, but I was kind of dragged to go to Snowball, but I'm so grateful because I truly learned who I am, and I know like what my interests are now, and I'm able to speak up for myself, and I'm able to tell others, oh, like, this is who I am, and Snowball has definitely made an impact on me in that type of way, especially also because I was always so like closed off and shy, and going to Snowball, you're kind of forced to speak to other people you normally wouldn't talk to, and like Mia said, I've definitely made so many new friendships that I definitely would not see myself having as a freshman girl coming into Downers Grove North, and I definitely think Snowball has that type of toll on so many different individuals, and it just helps us all connect as a community.
So I was also kind of forced into going my freshman year by a junior at the time on the girls' golf team who was a leader. And I agreed to go, but I was very hesitant. But I immediately fell in love with it once I got to camp. I loved how the leaders and directors were so passionate about the program. And I just loved how warm and welcoming the environment was. So I decided to come back, and then I wanted to be a leader and then a director. Snowball has given me such a great opportunity to work with people that I would never have been able to meet if it wasn't for Snowball. It also has like taught me how to be vulnerable in a safe environment in front of other people and be myself. Yeah, I've definitely grown since freshman year. I would not have thought I'd be speaking, but just the effect that Snowball has on my life will last long after high school's over.
I just wanted to say, so when I went into Snowball for the first time, like I was kind of like, I knew I wanted to go. I was a little hesitant because none of my friends were going at all. But then I realized maybe that's a good opportunity to grow. And so I got to go, and like they're all saying, I got to experience the amazing environment that it is and how welcoming everyone truly is. And it's just truly a special experience to have. And I was given the opportunity to lead this year in fall as a sophomore, and because we didn't have enough leaders for juniors and seniors, but it was definitely an amazing experience. I loved getting to spread my energy on other people and positive energy and like just like get to be myself. I feel like that's the number one thing with Snowball for me is I can be myself for a little while and just like have fun with everyone, and it's just an amazing time. Like no matter what, it's always an amazing time.
Awesome.
Okay, so Snowball is unique as it gives both North and South students the chance to learn and grow together regardless of what school you go to. And the Snowball students and adult sponsors are so grateful for your support. So we have wristbands for you and stickers, and then we're going to hand out some warm fuzzies, which is what we wear at Snowball.
Awesome.
I wondered what those were, because usually we see tutus and boas.
I was gonna ask to explain those.
Somebody want to explain the warm fuzzy?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically when you go to Snowball and you're put into small groups, you get these little yarn necklaces that are like coordinated with your color, like your color group.
I don't think you have
So
enough.
like I was a rainbow director, so mine's rainbow. So basically, so the little like pom-pom at the end, you can take these little yarn pieces out of them and you go up to someone and you tie it on their necklace and you give them a compliment.
Nice.
So it's kind of just like a way to like go up to someone and say like, hey, you were really nice to me at the dance. I really enjoyed getting to know you. And it's just like kind of a way to like spread compliments and make them feel warm and fuzzy. So that's why they're called warm fuzzies.
I love it.
Nancy sending out warm fuzzies.
Well, I want to say for those of you who thought you could never do public speaking, you need to let that roll off your shoulders, because you guys nailed it. That should not be a question in your mind ever again. What can we do to keep up the momentum of Snowball?
I mean, I think just getting it like people like involved and just like spreading that it's out there. I feel like a lot of people are very closed off to it because they think it's like a cry fest or it's like whatever. But usually when people say that and they go, they're like, that was not what I expected it to be, because like although it is like helps you be very like reflective on your feelings, it's a very like positive reflection. But I just think like trying to spread like what it truly is instead of what people think it is, and maybe like promoting it as more of like a positive experience and less of like a cry fest. But I mean, that's
Did you find that were there more participants this year, especially coming off of, and that may be for staff, coming off the pandemic? Because there was a lot that went on in the last 3 years. Were there more participants? And then the next question is, how do you market it? Because I would think, you mentioned the Cry Fest. If people, sounds like it's an awesome experience.
So unfortunately, we haven't had as much participants over the past few years, but a way we try to market it is post it through social media. We have it in our daily announcements. We post it on the TVs around the school, and a lot of like the leaders and directors will like promote it through social media. So just like trying to reach people through social media, but yes, we kind of have had a decrease in our participants.
Okay.
Do you reach out to like at the incoming students open house and things like that? Yeah. Are there meetings during the school days, or is it kind of limited to these events?
It's mostly the events themselves, other than the fact that the student leaders are meeting regularly to get things prepared. So it's a little bit different in that sense from a traditional club. So the underclassmen participate, get a chance during the retreats, but not as much in sort of the ongoing work that we do.
I think it's Johnny. Is that- Did you find that your friends, once you came back and told them how wonderful it is and how you learned so much, did they participate this sophomore year?
Yeah, so they're still a little shaky on it, but I'm doing the best I can. But I mean, honestly, if they don't come, it's just more fun for me. I can just like make more new friends. It's all right. They can. I'll forget about them. It's fine. I'm kidding. But yeah, it is a little tough to get my friends out because I'm not like. I'm kind of in the minority of people that go. I'm a football player. I throw shot put and stuff. Like most people don't want to do that. Like that are on the football team. But I think overall it's still a really great experience. Like that. Like everyone should have just because of like the positivity that's spread throughout it. And I'm still working on trying to get those friends out for sure.
All right.
You'll get them.
He's adorable.
Yeah, you're convincing me to go. So.
I just have one last question. Outside of the actual event itself, how much time did you guys spend in planning? I mean, that's no small.
Oh my God.
Just a guesstimate.
Okay, so as a director, at least, like Madeline and I and the rest of the directors, we were meeting like at least like 2 to 3 times a week. So we would meet once in the morning with the adults and like planning stuff and coming up with ideas. And then we'd probably meet 1 to 2 times a week, just the 8 of us to like kind of like build on those ideas and figure out what we wanted the event to actually look like. And that includes like coming up with workshops, picking a speaker, coming up with the small group themes, like things like that. So, I mean, a lot of time and like for leaders.
So, as a leader, we didn't meet as much as the directors do because we didn't have to coordinate the all the events and everything like that. But I would say, at least with my partner, we did meet a lot, only because we got really close in the beginning and we started to like hanging out with each other and we became really close friends. So it was more so trying to like build the connection and getting to know each other more and more after time. Sundays we had skip practice, which took around 2 hours, and Mia was my director. And then overall during the week, maybe twice a week, I'd say, maybe for an hour and a half or 2 hours, just to get done with shopping for our certain activities. And then creating these probably took the longest, I will be completely honest. This probably took a solid 4 days, 2 hours each. But yeah, it's a solid amount of time just to make sure everything's going smoothly. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you should invite the board to Snowball.
I want to go Snowball.
Very good presentation. You did a great job.
Yeah, so nice.
Okay, student board member.
I think they took a picture before.
Are they taking a picture?
Oh.
Luke, I think you need a picture. Go take a picture.
Go get your picture while Caitlin gets to
Kaylin,
go
we'll
first.
start with Caitlin.
Okay, so at South, we're obviously in the last part of the school year, so just trying to make it the last month or so. As a senior, it's definitely getting hard at this point, but we still have lots to look forward to. This weekend, I believe we have our Mustang Trot, which is our 5K that raises money, and it's just like a good way to be active and get students involved at South. So we have that going on. We also have our musical coming up, which is Mamma Mia this year, which I'm super excited about. They always do such a good job with all the musicals, so I'm definitely excited to go see that. We also have prom at the end of this month, which as a senior, I'm very excited for prom, just to be with all my classmates and have a good time. This week, being a senior again, is definitely a good week. We have 2 days off, Wednesday and Thursday, for testing, so 2 days that I will not have to go to school, which is fun and gives a chance for juniors and underclassmen to start preparing for college and take those tests that they need. And then at the end of spring break, coming back to school, we started the new ID, needing the stickers to leave during block periods, just so people who are supposed to be in the building stay in the building. And an idea that I brought to Miss Lip that we talked about was many students are relying on their digital ID more than the actual card that they have. So having to use your physical ID for stickers sometimes create a more work, having to go to the bookstore to get it printed. So I believe that they're working on more of a digital ID system for next year, just so it's a lot more convenient for students to just pull it up on their phone, always have it on them at all times, rather than maybe losing the physical card or not having it on you at the time. So that's an idea for next year. And I've also gotten a lot of questions about potential people wanting to be interested in the board position. So this position will definitely be filled by someone great from South, and there's a lot of interest at South, so that's super exciting. And our spring sports are in full swing. Our baseball and softball teams and all the other sports have had a lot of games. I went to a softball game, and it's just nice to see like students supporting not just the main sports of football and basketball, but also being there and supporting our Mustangs for our spring sports. And we're just trying to make it through the last few months of school, but we have a lot to look forward to at South.
So sadly I did not get to hear what Caitlin was saying, but I'll try not to repeat anything that's similar. For this week, it's definitely a stressful time for juniors and sophomores who are going through SATs and PSATs. Overall, many of the students I've heard are trying to push through to the end and putting all their focus onto these exams, trying to give it all they can, even with the emotions that are rushing. The juniors going to become seniors, the sophomores going to become juniors. Everyone's still trying their best to get through everything. Especially I know that personally the senior class, although we might want to maybe give up towards the end, everyone's still trying to get through so that we can keep on pushing till the end, because I know there's going to be upcoming AP exams, which is also just as big as SATs and PSATs. But this week for Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be nice to have once again a little break in the middle of the week. But also this Friday, we're hosting our Ritter invite for track and field, which is well known by the state of Illinois, and there's 16 teams from around Illinois that come, and it's this big event that happens. We always host, and everyone gets to help out in some type of way and be a part of this huge community with some friendly competition, and it's so joyful. It's nice to see everyone coming together, once again creating that community of sports. And also this Wednesday is our NHS award night, which is once again one of those bigger things where we're able to create that community of individuals who have put in all this effort to keep their grades up and also help the community at the same time by serving their hours, either tutoring some kind of student, helping out in sports, or maybe helping the people around here. I know many people helped the association called Feed My Starving Children, which is always so nice to help out as much as possible, and the NHS award night just gives the opportunity to people to be recognized in our school community. And I know personally this is going to be the most exciting part of the school year because there are so many senior activities going on. There's prom, and then also the big Six Flags night that everyone is talking about, and also different assemblies that are going to be going on. And I just personally think that North is coming closer towards the end, and these last few weeks where everyone is just pushing through, happy, the weather is nice outside, and it's definitely nice to see everyone so joyful.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, do we have anybody for reception of visitors?
Not there yet. I have a quick recognition before we get there.
okay.
There are two. One is Courtney's here with us, received the Herman Graves Award from the Illinois Principals Association, so congratulations. And then Rod Rousseau, who's our Director of Technology, who's also retiring this year, has received all kinds of recognitions this year, but two big ones. This is the biggest tech director organization, well, one of the biggest. Rod received two of their biggest awards. The first one is a brand new award. COSN has been around for 30 years. They recognized leaders in the field that made impact for the last 30, and they expect will make an impact for the next 30. So Rod's got work to do. And he was also recognized as the Volunteer of the Year for all of the work he's been doing in leading schools and cybersecurity initiatives around the world, actually. So he is a great leader for us and a great leader for the professional community. So congratulations to Rod. reception of visitors. We have no slips.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the board workshop, student assistance program coordinators.
All right. You guys get to tell me when to click to.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight to share a little bit about the Student Assistance Program in District 99. My name is Adonia Stamatukos. I'm the Student Assistance Coordinator at Downers Grove South.
And I'm Keith Bullock, the coordinator at North.
Next slide, please. So our title doesn't really give away what we do, Student Assistance Program. So for those that are maybe unfamiliar, we just wanted to share a general overview as to what kind of work Keith and I do in the district and in our respective schools. First and foremost, we're both social workers, but we work with a very specialized population, and that population is students that are engaging in substance use or that are impacted by substance use in some way. So we work with the counseling and student support services team as well. We work very collaboratively with them in the counseling office, with the other school psychologists, school social workers, as well as counselors to provide intervention in our specific areas of expertise with these students. Typically, the way that our caseload grows is if there's a substance use infraction in the school building, or if there's a concerned person for a student and they refer them to us so that we can offer them support. Most of our intervention is individual, working with students. However, we also do support the counseling team as well with support groups and group counseling. We're going to talk a lot about this tonight, but our main responsibilities within the district are substance use intervention, prevention, and leadership. As you just heard our amazing students talk about, that's a big part of our program as well. And we have the unique ability to collaborate with everyone in our position. So we get to collaborate with individual students, we get to collaborate with the entire student body, staff members, families, and the community at large. Next slide, please. Thank you. So now a little bit about prevention and education. Operation Snowball, you just heard a lot about. So that's one of our main prevention and student leadership activities here. And we also have Blue Crew at Downers Grove South and North Stars at Downers Grove North. And these programs are freshman transition programs, and they are completely led by upperclassmen and adult supported, similar to Operation Snowball. Studies show that students who are engaged with their school and connected in leadership positions are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. So that's why these major leadership programs really fall under our umbrella of student assistance. And we wanted to share a bit about our prevention communications. So as you see these three logos on the screen, the South, North, and district-wide one, 99 Reasons, What's Your Reason? This is the substance use prevention campaign that we launched in the beginning of last year. And we really were intentional about trying to make this a substance use campaign for everyone. So it might be easier for a student who does not engage in substance use to come up with a reason to not use. There may be more than 99 reasons to not use, and they can come up with them easily. But we also recognize that the populations that we work with almost entirely is using substances. Even those students have reasons to avoid use, whether it be avoiding a certain substance, whether it be avoiding a certain time period of using, or for specific reasons, everyone has a reason to avoid using. So we are hoping that this campaign would reach a broader audience. This year we had 3 foci with our prevention communications: marijuana, nicotine, and fentanyl. In our school buildings, we typically see marijuana and nicotine, which is why we felt it would be appropriate to tailor prevention communications for marijuana and nicotine. And that's also backed up by IYS data that Keith will be sharing shortly. And the fentanyl communication is more of an awareness campaign. Fentanyl is not something thus far that we have seen in our school buildings, but we are aware of the fact that there has been increased traces of fentanyl in the community, which is why we wanted to share this information with students, staff, and families. That goes for all of our prevention communications. So we have a comprehensive prevention plan in which we share the information with students, families, and staff, because whether you are inside or outside of the building, we think it's important for all the adults in these students' lives to be aware of the different substance concerns. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here are just a few examples of the communications. So on the bottom left there is nicotine, bottom right is fentanyl, and above that is marijuana, which we'll be launching later this month. So typically we have about 6 to 8 posters for each campaign, each substance campaign that we launch with different information. And this again goes out to students, staff, and families. And that QR code is something that students can scan, and we put that on the posters so that they can have quitting information as well as the resources information which we pool to put on the posters. So this is Red Ribbon Week, which is arguably one of the most important weeks in mine and Keith's lives here at the district. Red Ribbon Week is the nation's largest drug prevention campaign. And dare I say, this year it was fun. So you can put fun and substance use prevention in the same sentence. We got a ton of student engagement. So that's what made it so successful. That's what made it fun. You know, if your audience is engaging with your message, then that's how you know it's effective. So you can see in that photo there, that's in the South Commons, and North and South did the same thing. That's a line of students coming up to engage with our campaign, and it was during resource periods this year, and we just had students constantly. So we focused this year on combining the 99 Reasons campaign with nicotine awareness. So we had students fill out a paper, so just old school pen and paper, come up to the table, fill out a quiz on nicotine facts and IYS data, as well as writing in what's your reason. So students filled that out, they put it in a box, and they came up to spin a prize wheel, and whatever prize that was had the 99 Reasons logo on it, because we know that getting that logo out there more normalizes substance use prevention messaging. So that's something that Keith and I have been working on. Since our substance use campaign is so new, we really want it to be viewed more. So that's something that we're intentional about as well. Now that we have access, we had the opportunity to create an access lesson that every student in the building saw about nicotine. So that was something that we were able to launch that week as well. And we created a student communication, which you can see down there, and that had various different models. And we sent that out to staff and parents as well.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Illinois Youth Survey. So the survey, we utilize the survey in a number of different ways, including informing our communication as well as evaluating our programming, in addition to giving us a broad spectrum of data on student behaviors, interests, concerns, those types of things. The Illinois Youth Survey is a state survey that's modeled on a national survey that's given biannually every other year. And for the most part, since we have 2008 and then we kind of jumped to 2014, and other than the 2020 year of COVID, we've been consistently participating as an entire school. Some schools do a sample population, or they do just the 10th and the 12th grade. And one of the things that the University of Illinois, though, funds is to survey every student. And we really feel good about that process and practice, because it increases, our sample size is enormous, and then we're able to share with students that every single student who's there at school that day has the opportunity to take the survey. And we value the information, the anonymous information that we get back from them, and then that's returned to us in aggregate data from U of I, who does all the processing for us. Addresses topics of substance use is kind of where it's at its start, kind of at its heart. But it's grown over the years to include a lot of different additional topic areas, social emotional concerns, issues related to bullying, emotional health, school connectedness, questions evaluating their learning and their interest in learning, which kind of predates the 5 Essential Survey. So we kind of been getting some of that information for a little bit of time even before that. And then some of the other things that are listed there as well, related to beliefs and attitudes about substance use, risk and protective factors for them, particularly as well. And one of the things I want to talk a little bit about too is how we use this for evaluation. So it creates an opportunity to kind of evaluate how we're doing as a district and in our student assistance program in terms of substance use prevention and reducing use overall. Delaying use is another important goal of the program as well. So the longer we can get students to hold out in their initial use of substance or any particular substance or any really adult behavior of that type, the health benefits just can increase as well. But we find opportunities in, like with Red Ribbon Week or through the IYS or through, sometimes we do activities during Drug and Alcohol Facts Week in the spring. To get feedback from the students about how they're feeling about the campaign. So like the 99 Reasons campaign really came out of student discussions during COVID. They were held virtually, but about how we should make our program more inclusive and our approach more inclusive to students. So we'd like to there's so much data from the IYS, and it is all public, and so, board members, staff members, families, parents, community members can access this information for the state, the county, as well as for our district. We are sharing tonight district information. But what we found in general is that for really almost all of the domains that our data between the two buildings is very similar. I think sometimes people feel like, you know, this building or that building, and what we found is that the students report their experience in these areas to be extremely similar, very much the same in terms of the data that we get back. But we do get data back by building as well as by district, so we're able to compare that as needed. But these first 2 points we wanted to share with you tonight, primarily related to social emotional aspects or domains for our students. So one of the questions that's been a long-standing question on the Illinois Youth Survey asked students about experiencing symptoms of depression. So that's in that sort of gold color there. During the past 12 months, did you ever feel so sad or hopeless almost every day for 2 weeks or more in a row that you stopped doing some usual activities? And you'll see the increase there sort of in between COVID. So the 2020 year is where we did not or were not able to survey students. We were actually, the week after we went into remote learning was when we were scheduled to take the survey, which is why we did not for that year in particular. And you'll see the increase. And so this reflects, you know, national research and even state research and data that we have that adolescents are struggling. And they're struggling more than they have been after COVID in a variety of ways. And so as a person, as people from our department in CSSS, it is concerning to see that number of students find that throughout the year that they're experiencing these symptoms of depression. One of the perhaps positives when I looked back at the data from 2008, 14, 16, 18, is that the number of students that are experiencing depression to the degree of having suicidal thoughts or ideations is kind of held steady. And so while we see students struggling, at least based on the self-report from the survey, we're finding that students are kind of holding steady in terms of the seriousness by which they're struggling with depression. The bottom left pie chart, we asked students what they felt was their biggest contributor to stress, which is kind of interesting results. The orange slice of the pie there at almost 30% is the pressure that they put on themselves is what they identified, which is, you know, is something that I think over the last several years, each building has really worked to encourage our students to take perspective and find ways to relax and find ways to step away from the stress of activities in class and coursework. But it's a struggle. And then the pink kind of follows next with pressures from teachers. And then the slices of the pie at 15% are pressure and expectations from family or challenges to their emotional health. And then there's some other smaller identified stressors in the remaining section. One of the things we wanted to share tonight is some trend data related to substance use. And so this, feel free to ask any questions you have as we go, but what you're looking at for these next three bar graphs is an average of all 4 grade levels in both buildings. So when we're talking about the percentage of students who report using in a 30-day period, that's this average. So again, asking a freshman in a certain group of kids might have a very different answer than asking a senior who runs in a different group of students as well, right, in terms of their experiences. So we're really trying to capture everything by including the averages here. One of the things you'll notice is that alcohol use is going down, and it's been going down for decades nationally. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon to people who are studying it, people like myself, to find that that's happening. And that starts back with the national age of 21 and kind of just continues forward, where kids are still utilizing alcohol as the most popular substance used for their age group, but at much lower rates than 20, 30 years ago. And that's what's reflected in here as well. One of the interesting things during COVID is we were wondering how that impacted substance use for students. And a lot of the reporting for adults is that substance use activity went up during COVID, and the research is showing that it actually went down for adolescents during COVID. And so you'll notice that, I think, in some of these bar graphs as well. And so what we might find in 2024, we might find an increase to some extent in all three of these areas that we're talking about tonight. One of the nice things, I suppose, though, that when I think about this is that oftentimes when I'm talking to students, they'll ask or say, well, then students must be using marijuana just proportionally to the decrease in alcohol, and that's not what we're seeing. So we're seeing a decrease overall in substance use and some slight increases in marijuana use, definitely, which we would expect to see with legalization, but not in a correlation of decrease and increase. This chart tells a very different story related to nicotine use. The 2008-2014 shows a decrease, again, a trend of conventional students using fewer students using conventional cigarettes or tobacco products as a decrease, and then kind of the explosion of e-cigarettes and vapes in 2016, hopefully peaking in what we see at 2018, and then you'll see that drop again there with COVID. I would anticipate that nicotine use, just based on returning to school and more normal activities, is that will increase. But hopefully we've seen sort of the peak of trendiness related to nicotine vapes, at least within this age group. Come and go. THC and marijuana use, sometimes referred to as cannabis, so many different names. But you'll notice how steady this has held for the last several cycles of survey. And the reduction, I think even the 2016-2018, it's in my mind kind of holding steady, and you'll see that drop there again after COVID. And we expect that will bump up a bit as students return to some of their normal activities. But again, anything we can do to keep that number as low as possible is a benefit to our student body and their learning. We try to utilize the data and organize it in ways that kids can readily pick up the information, even just passing by in the hallway. So we've tried to create some communication that demonstrates sort of the data points in a way that is both interesting and quick to understand. So we just wanted to share a couple examples of that there. And then talking a little bit, Adania mentioned this as well, but the intervention aspect of our job. So in addition to the educational roles and the prevention work that we do, we're also doing social work support with students related to substance use violations or possession at school, including students if there's a violation related to the athletic and activity code. And then we're also coordinating with the PATH coordinators, students that might be suspended in school, providing additional education and opportunities for reflection, opportunities to motivate change or to have change conversations with them, encouraging that they may reconsider or have an opportunity to reflect on their use patterns. We provide individual counseling. We work in co-facilitated group counseling situations outside of substance areas as well with CSSS members. We work with the alpha teams who are meeting every week to support students. And then we're often in touch with families, making referrals, providing support, helping problem solve in student situations. And then occasionally we're supporting students when there's a substance use concern related to parents. Students often, if there's a situation like that, they might let their counselor know, and their counselor might create an opportunity for them to speak with us as well and create a relationship in addition to the relationship they have with their counselor. We're very grateful. We continue to be very grateful for the support. Kristen Borman is here as well. Kevin was here. We have a history of support by the district, by the board, by the community for this position, and we're very grateful. We've had very few people in the positions over time, and I think it's really led to an investment and outcomes, positive outcomes in the program. So we're grateful. We appreciate that.
Questions?
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I gotta say, I'm really proud of you, Keith, what you've done since you come here. Really impressed, really impressed.
Yeah.
So, first of all, great presentation. I'm sorry that, I'm glad we have you. I'm sorry we need you, but I'm glad we have you. What percentage of students, what's your caseload like?
I think it varies. I think it varies between school, it varies between year.
Okay.
It just depends, but, you know, we have the opportunity now with the PATH program, which is something that is newer developed this year, that we get to intervene with students immediately. So we get to go up there and meet with students who have had those substance use infractions. It just varies. It's hard to put a number to it. But we appreciate that we also have staff members reaching out to us, concerned parents reaching out to us, so that it's not just through violations and getting in trouble in a sense that we meet with these students. It's always from a place of concern, but we appreciate when it comes initially from a place of concern as well.
Have we had students self-identify?
There have been a few, yeah.
Sometimes a friend will, sometimes, you know, some of the anonymous reporting opportunities that we have, some of the kids will self-refer. Oftentimes a parent, if it's not related to a violation, a parent will contact the counselor looking for support, ideas, answers, referrals, and then they'll often refer that over to us. I think in terms of caseload, I wanted to say our departments are very relationship-driven. It sounds maybe almost a little bit cheesy, but it's true, that we really value the relationships that students have with the adults in our department. So oftentimes, if that student has a primary relationship, say with their counselor or another social worker, we would go in and provide support, have conversation, referrals, without not necessarily a handoff, you know? So I really love that, because what it does is it kind of wraps around the kid and the family in that situation. So that's why I think it's sometimes hard to say, this is our caseload, because I don't feel like the counselors are sort of handing those students off to us and they become ours. It's sort of communally ours.
Interdisciplinary, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Did you have?
It's just amazing that we have this. I think it's really a good thing for our students and our parents.
Well, and this is an area where districts have looked to cut costs in the future, and District 99 has maintained this programming over the years, and this is a great service that Keith and Antonio offer our students and, of course, our entire system here. So it has been, you know, the board year after year supporting this program that allows it to stay strong and allows it to continue to grow. And you can see, like, with the changes in the schedule and those kinds of things, different opportunities that are presented for this work. So, and of course, PATH, providing additional opportunities moving forward. So, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation.
All right, staff receiving tenure. As a reminder to the board, we don't offer tenure as a district, the state does, and there's a variety of ways that our staff acquire tenure. Every year at this time of the year, we like to just make the board and the community aware of our staff that have made it through one of those pathways to achieve tenure and be awarded that by the state. So sharing that with you tonight, and then by doing so, we share that with the public as well. So congratulations to all of our teachers that have reached that milestone.
Absolutely.
All right, reception of visitors.
So this is the second reception of visitors. Do we have anyone? None. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the public hearing. The purpose of said hearing will be to receive public comment on a proposed application to waive a portion of Section 27-6 of the school code to allow driver education to substitute for one semester of physical education. Public comment will be taken during the public hearing. Do we have anybody coming forward?
Anybody that wishes to address the board on this?
All noticing requirements have been met.
Say again?
The all noticing requirements have been met.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All noticing requirements have been met for the public hearing per the waiver requirements. Following the public hearing, the board will take action on the school code waiver application to allow driver education to substitute for one semester of physical education. Is there anyone we have no one yet who wishes to address the board? We have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Mike and Chris?
Thank you. Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza. Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye. The public hearing is closed. Now we need a motion for the Board of Education to approve the school code waiver application to allow driver education to substitute for one semester of physical education.
So moved.
Second.
Mike and Terry.
Thank you very much. Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Now we're going to ask for a motion to go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. And collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the district has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the district finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Mike and Terry.
Thank you very much. Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza. Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye, we are going into closed session. We will not be taking any action coming out of closed session other than adjourning. So thank everybody for their time.